CHS Group Orientation Module 1, Section 3, Recipient Rights. As a staff, you're responsible for the safety and well-being of consumers in your care. You're responsible for your own actions, regardless of whether or not they were intentional or accidental. You're responsible for acting appropriately and quickly to protect the consumers in your care. You're responsible for reporting to the rights officer by the next business day of any potential recipient rights issues. You should review the Your Rights Blue Booklet, which is provided to consumers and families. You will be attending a recipient rights training by a rights officer within 90 days of hire. You're also responsible for following the Mental Health Code, recipient rights policies, and the consumer treatment plans. Recipient rights abuse. You'll learn more about recipient rights during your community mental health training, but for now it's important to remember that you should never yell or swear at a consumer. Do not communicate to consumers in a manner that is threatening, degrading, or sexual. Do not touch consumers in a manner that is sexual, aggressive, or forceful. Use physical management with consumers only in an emergency when there is imminent risk of physical harm. Do not take or misuse a consumer's personal property or funds. Immediately stop abusive actions by others and take care of the consumer. Immediately report any known or suspected consumer abuse to your supervisor, protective services, and the rights offices. Failure to report consumer abuse is serious and may result in a rights violation or disciplinary action. Recipient rights neglect. Always follow the consumer's individual plan of service or other written guidelines. Immediately stop neglectful actions by others and take care of the consumer. Immediately report any known or suspected consumer neglect to your supervisor, protective services, and the rights office. Failure to report consumer neglect is serious and may result in a rights violation and disciplinary action. Recipient rights reporting requirements. You must call the rights office and leave a detailed message no later than the next business day regarding any known or suspected violation of recipient rights. You must report even if you didn't witness the violation yourself, you don't have proof, or you think it's only hearsay. Completing an incident report or telling your supervisor about a possible rights issue is not enough. You must directly notify the rights office. You can make an anonymous report or file an anonymous complaint with the rights office. Always consult with the rights office if you are unsure if a rights violation has occurred. Failure to report a possible rights violation to the recipient rights office is a serious issue and may result in disciplinary action. Incident reports. You must complete an incident report anytime something unusual or significant happens involving the consumer. Complete an incident report before the end of your shift. Get your supervisor to sign off and then submit it to Community Mental Health within 24 hours. If the incident is a possible rights violation, you must report it to the rights office no later than the next business day. Some examples of events which would require an incident report: 1. A consumer threatens harm to themselves or others or destroys property. 2. A consumer is aggressive toward themselves or others. 3. A consumer has a medical emergency. 4. A medication error has occurred. 5. A consumer is injured or involved in an accident. 6. There's possible abuse or neglect of a consumer. And 7. A staff violates the rights of a consumer. If you have any questions about what would require an incident report, please contact your supervisor. Confidentiality and HIPAA. All information about a consumer, including whether or not they're a consumer, is confidential. If you must release information, make sure you do it legally. Consult with your supervisor and/or rights office for guidance. Generally, release only with assigned consent, release only the minimum information necessary, and release only to those with a need to know. Dignity and respect. Be polite and professional towards consumers and their family members. Use positive and kind language when talking to consumers and family members. Call each consumer by his or her preferred name. Provide options and let consumers make their own decisions as much as possible. Speak to and treat consumers in a manner appropriate for their age. Do not treat adult consumers like children. Respect consumers' privacy as much as possible. Personal property and money. A consumer's personal property is anything given to a consumer, such as a gift or something that's purchased with the consumer's own money, like magazines, cigarettes, books, clothes, and television. Consumers cannot be denied access to their personal property unless indicated in the individual plan of service or if it poses an immediate threat to health or safety. You cannot take, borrow, or accept money, gifts, or property from a consumer or their family. Individual plan of service. Each consumer has an individual plan of service. It's called the IPOS. It addresses needs such as physical health, mental health, employment, transportation, recreation, and so on. Health and safety needs are also addressed in the individual plan of service, including the level of care and supervision a consumer requires. You must inform the case manager of any changes in a consumer's condition or needs. This helps ensure that the consumer's IPOS is kept up to date and accurate. You must know and follow the IPOS for every consumer that you work with. For guidance on how to handle behaviors, see the consumer's IPOS and ask your supervisor. Recipient Rights Offices. The Rights Office will follow up to protect the rights of consumers. Consult with the Rights Office whenever you're unsure or have questions about rights. Contact your local Rights Office by phone or in person. You'll request the Officer of the Day. For Lenawee County, call 517-263-8905. In Livingston County, call 517-546-4126. For Monroe County, call 734-243-7340. Washtenaw County, you'll call 734-219-8519. Recipient Rights Staff Protections. Staff are protected by several provisions. The Michigan Mental Health Code protects our staff from being retaliated against or harassed by their employer or co-workers when they report possible rights violations or participates in a rights investigation. The Whistleblowers Protection Act will protect liability of any staff who, acting in good faith, reports or assists to report a known or suspected violation. It also protects staff from being discharged, threatened, harassed, or discriminated against by their employer as a result of blowing the whistle. The Bullard-Plawecki Right to Know Act also protects staff in that an employer or former employer cannot share disciplinary action about a staff without written notice to the employee. A final word. You're also required to follow CMH recipient rights policies, which can be found at the Affiliation Provider Manual and online at the address listed below. Follow the directions to get to recipient rights policies.